There is a part of you that reacts before you do. It chooses your words. It tightens your jaw. It picks your enemies. You meet it every single day. Yet you have never been formally introduced. Carl Jung had a name for this hidden operator. He called it the shadow, and has been steering your life from beneath the surface of your awareness. Most adults believe they are in control of their reactions. They believe thought comes first, then feeling, then behavior. But neuroscience and depth psychology agree on something uncomfortable. Your reaction has already happened before your conscious mind notices. A coworker speaks. Your stomach tightens. A stranger laughs. Something inside you flinches without permission. By the time you choose your response, the shadow has already chosen for you. Your conscious mind only catches up to write the story. This is not a flaw in your design. This is the design itself. The shadow was built to protect you long before you understood yourself. Picture a child who learned that anger got punished. That child did not stop feeling anger. The child buried it. Picture a child who learned that needing love was dangerous. That child did not stop needing. The child hid the need underground. Decades pass. The child becomes you. The buried material does not disappear. It waits beneath your reactions. This is the part of you that you have never met, yet it has been controlling your decisions your entire life. Jung discovered this through years of clinical observation. His patients kept describing the same strange experience. They would react in ways that horrified their conscious values. A gentle man would erupt at his child. A loving woman would freeze toward her partner. None of them could explain why. Jung began to listen for what was buried beneath their reactions. He found something his colleagues refused to accept at the time. He found that every human carries a hidden self, a self made of everything the conscious personality could not afford to keep. Rejected anger, forbidden desire, unfelt grief, unspoken needs, all of it pushed below the threshold of awareness. But pushed down does not mean gone. Pushed down means relocated. The shadow simply moves to a deeper room in your psyche. From that deeper room, it speaks through reactions, through impulses, through sudden moods you cannot trace. Think of the shadow as a second nervous system. It learned faster than your thinking mind ever could. It cataloged every danger of your childhood, every disapproval, every withdrawn affection, every silent punishment. It built a library of warnings before you could read words. That library is still being consulted today. When your boss frowns, the library opens to a familiar page. When your partner pulls away, another page turns silently. Stay with me here. This next part will explain something about yourself you have never been able to articulate. The shadow does not operate randomly. It operates through specific triggers. Every trigger is a doorway it uses to surface. When someone displays a quality you secretly carry but have disowned, your shadow recognizes itself. It reacts before you can. This is why certain people irritate you for no clear reason. They are wearing what you have buried. This is why some compliments make you uncomfortable. They name what you have refused to claim in yourself. This is why some criticisms wound you so deeply. They graze the exact place your shadow lives. This is why your reactions surprise even you. Something ancient inside you knew that moment before you did. The shadow is not slow. It is the fastest part of you. Faster than thought, faster than choice. Carl Jung wrote in his Red Book about exactly this experience. He described meeting the parts of himself he had exiled. The encounter terrified him at first. Then it changed him. He realized his exiled parts were not enemies. They were carrying something he had needed all along. Power he had hidden. Anger that protected him. Desire that animated him. But Jung discovered something even more uncomfortable about this pattern. The shadow does not only carry the dark, it also carries the gold. The talents you were shamed for, the brilliance you were told to dim, the boldness that scared your family, the sensitivity that embarrassed your parents. All of it sits in the shadow too. The child who was told to be quiet still lives inside you. So does the child who was told to be small. So does the child who was praised only for being good. That child learned that the real self was unwelcome. This is why some adults feel half a lot. They have buried not only their flaws, they have buried their fire. The shadow steering your reactions is not a villain. It is a messenger. It is delivering pieces of you back to the surface. You may be wondering how to recognize the shadow when it is acting through you. There are specific signs. The first sign is disproportionate reaction. Something small happens. Your response is enormous. Pause there. The size of the reaction is the size of what is buried. The shadow has been waiting for that exact key. The second sign is repeated patterns. You keep ending up in the same conflict with different people. This is not bad luck. This is the shadow rehearsing the same scene until you finally hear what it is saying. The third sign is the strong dislike. There's one type of person you cannot stand. You feel it instantly. Examine that type carefully. They are showing you the trait you have refused to integrate in yourself. This is what Jung named projection. Your inner contents thrown onto the outer screen of other people. The fourth sign is the unexplained mood. A wave of sadness or anger arises with no cause. The shadow is surfacing without a trigger. It is asking for attention you have been denying. The fifth sign is the contradiction between values and behavior. You believe in patience. You explode at your partner. You believe in honesty. You discover yourself shaping the truth. The shadow is operating in the gap. Notice these signs without judging yourself for them. Judgment only drives the shadow deeper into hiding. If you have ever noticed yourself doing this, you are not broken. You are encountering the part of yourself Jung called the rejected self. Comment below with one word that describes a reaction you cannot explain in yourself. Just one word. Naming it begins the work. The shadow loses some of its grip the moment it is acknowledged in language. Now return with me to the deeper question. How do you actually work with the shadow once you see it? The most common mistake is to fight it, to shame it, to try harder to be the version of yourself you prefer. This makes the shadow stronger. What you push down with more force pushes back with more intensity. Jung taught a different approach. He called it integration, the slow practice of meeting the buried parts without shame. Integration does not mean acting on every shadow impulse. It means listening to what the impulse is asking for. Anger may be asking for boundary. Jealousy may be naming an unmet longing. Resentment may be marking a violated value. The shadow always carries information. Your work is to translate the reaction into the message beneath it. This is the practice Jung used with his patients. That takes only 10 minutes per day. I am going to give it to you now. Tonight, sit quietly with a notebook. Bring to mind the last reaction you had that felt larger than the situation deserved. Write the reaction in one sentence. Then ask one question. What part of me felt threatened in that moment? Do not edit your answer. Do not analyze. Let the buried voice speak in its own language for once. You will likely find a younger version of yourself underneath, a part that learned the world was unsafe. That part has been steering your reactions ever since, not to harm you, to protect you the only way it knows. When you listen to it, something shifts. The reaction loses its automatic quality. A small space opens between trigger and response. That space is the beginning of freedom. Not freedom from the shadow, freedom with the shadow. Freedom does not arrive as a dramatic breakthrough. It arrives as a pause, a breath before a reaction. That pause is everything. Inside that pause lives the choice your earlier self never had access to. Picture two figures inside one circle, one bright, one dark, both belonging. This is integration. You are not removing the shadow, you are inviting it into conscious partnership. You are becoming whole. This is what Jung called individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are, not who you were conditioned to be. It does not happen in one journal entry. It happens across years of small, honest encounters with the buried self. But every encounter counts. Every reaction examined is a piece of yourself reclaimed from the underground. Do not expect the shadow to vanish. Expect it to soften. Expect it to speak to you instead of through you. There will be days the shadow surfaces and you miss it. You react. You regret. You wonder if anything is changing. Something is changing. The very fact that you noticed afterward means consciousness is catching up to the shadow. Over time, the gap closes. You begin to feel the reaction forming before it fires. You begin to choose. This is the slow magic of depth psychology. It is not fast. It is not loud. It is real. Most people will go their entire lives never meeting the part of themselves running the show. You are not most people. You are here. You are listening. You are willing to look at what you have been taught to look away from. That willingness is rarer than you know, and it is the entire foundation of becoming whole. Your worst trigger is not your enemy. It is your mirror, and what it reflects is the part of yourself you have buried the deepest. The shadow steering your reactions is waiting to be met. Not fought, not fixed, met. When you meet it, it stops needing to grab the wheel. It can sit beside you instead of driving for you. This is the quiet revolution of inner work. The buried self does not need to be exiled again. It needs to be welcomed home. Tonight, before you sleep, write down one reaction from today that surprised you. Beside it, write one question. What were you protecting me from? Read the answer in the morning. You may be meeting a part of yourself for the first time. If this resonated, subscribe to the Archetype Code. Every video decodes one hidden part of your psyche so you can integrate and become whole. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your messenger. It carries the gold you have been searching for in the world. The work is to listen,